Hi, everybody. It's the end of the week. It's Friday. It's Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here. We are joining you with live weather impact. And for once, I can tell you it's kind of a quiet Friday. It's kind of nice going into the weekend. We don't have a lot going on weather-wise locally, but we do have a lot heading our way, which will be a big subject of tonight's show, talking about heat advisories, heat indices. There's just heat, so just get used to the term hot and humid and heat. That's going to be a big part of it. We're also going to talk a little bit about microbursts, because we had a pretty significant one yesterday in Lincoln County. They often get confused with tornadoes, and we're going to talk about why that happens, and talk a lot about what they form. I brought some videos. Hopefully we could find some to show you what they look like, because they're crazy. Every time we get a microburst around here, I get everyone, it had to be a tornado, and it's really not. Sometimes they're actually worse than tornadoes, and we'll talk about that. But as always, we'd like to dive into the forecast. If you missed any of the shows earlier on WCNC, we'll talk about the forecast right now. And we'll start with the radar and satellite, because for once, as I mentioned, I'm not tracking storms. Brittany last night did a great job tracking the flooding in Caldwell County and the isolated severe risk. Really was a weird day yesterday, because there wasn't many storms. There was none around Charlotte, but north of Interstate 40 was really active. Today, you don't see this very much in the summer. We've got basically no storm activity anywhere near us. I'm talking none. We usually would have one or two pop-up showers or storms, but right now it's just bone dry out there, and I'm going to show you why it's bone dry, because we've got basically low dew points. Now, the temperatures today, it was warm. I'm not going to lie. I spent a lot of time outside today. It was 90, but it was a dry heat today. We got up to 90 degrees, our fifth 90 of the year, by the way, and it will not be our last, as you're going to see coming up in a second. But that is actually one ahead of our pace last year, which should tell you that we are running much warmer than we were last summer at this point. The dew points, though, this has been a big story today. I love the term air you can wear, because it fits when it's super muggy. Today is not one of those days. We have a dew point of 56 right now. I would take that every single day in the summer. It is just amazing. That is the example of dry heat. Even low 60s in the summer around here in the Carolinas feels amazing. So if you were outside today, it was hot in the sun, but if you got in the shade, it actually wasn't bad. And if you sweat today, this low dew point allows for your sweat to evaporate, and you can actually cool yourself. So if you have one of those misting fans, which are really popular, today those things actually would have worked, because the evaporative cooling would actually been able to blow colder air on you. So if you've been on a restaurant patio that has misters going on, today is the reason you have those, because it works amazing on a day like today, because the evaporation actually occurs and the air around those misters actually gets cooler because of that evaporation. You can see tonight we will cool down into the upper 60s, close to 70, actually maybe a little bit below normal for once. But today is also another big day. I want to talk about this for a second. It's the summer solstice. It is the astronomical beginning of summer. Now, the summer solstice actually is a moment. It's not a day. I think it's weird. We always say it's a day. It's actually a moment. It happens exactly at 10:42 p.m. Eastern Time. The sun's rays will be directly on the Tropic of Cancer. And so even though the sun won't be up here, it will be directly on that latitude, other parts of the world where the sun is up. And it is our longest daylight hours. In fact, in Charlotte, our longest daylight is today and technically tomorrow too. It's like you can't even tell the difference today and tomorrow, but 14 hours, 32 minutes, and 1 second. So that is the longest daylight of the year. But here's the interesting thing, and I love this fact. It is not the latest sunset, and it's not the earliest sunrise. You would think that would be on the solstice. It is not. It is just the biggest distance between sunrise and sunset. These numbers and these sunset and sunrise times shift all the time. So I think it was last week we actually had our earliest sunrise of the season at 6:08, and our latest sunset isn't until like the 28th or 29th of June when it's 8:42. So there's a little bit of lag there in when those actually occur. So if you thought today was the latest sunset, it's close. It's still a minute earlier than it will be coming up next week. My other favorite stat about today, and if you follow me on social media, I posted this, at solar noon, which people are like, what the heck is solar noon? Like, Jeb, do you know what solar noon means? All right, see, I love quizzing you. We're not going to ask Lily. She knows, okay? So solar noon is actually the point in the day where the sun is at its highest point in the sky. Guess what, though? It's not at noon. It happens at 1:25, and that's because of the time zones, where we are in our time zone. The highest, peak of the sun, the highest point in the sky happens at solar noon, and that actually is at 1:25 in the afternoon. And our sun angle right now, the highest it gets all year, is 78.2 degrees. So that's a great cocktail party, trivia question. You can go tell somebody. What's cool about that is I think there's this misnomer that the sun is directly above our heads at any point. It's not. It never gets to 90 degrees above our head. The only place in the world that happens is between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. In fact, the equator today, the sun is even higher than 90 degrees. It actually will be like at 95, 96. Remember, the tilt of the Earth is 23.4 degrees, right? So that little tilt, makes those parts of the world get the direct rays of the sun. So 78.2. And why is that cool? And this is only something super geeky I love on this time of year. You can go at solar noon. You can do this tomorrow, by the way. So it's the weekend. Maybe if you're at a brewery, this would be a great thing to do. At 1:25, go take a picture of your shadow. It's a small shadow you're going to cast the entire year in Charlotte. So I was kind of cool. And if you have a pole, like a light pole or something, it's kind of cool to watch that. It basically has no shadow at all. So it's kind of wild. So if you get a chance to do that, that's kind of a cool thing you can do on the solstice. But as I always like to rant about, it's not the official beginning of summer. That for meteorological reasons and climatological reasons, June 1st is the beginning of summer. This is just an astronomical event for us. So 68 tonight, tomorrow, you'll see temperatures in the low 90s, kind of toasty. And then we got to talk about this heat thing, okay? I feel like this happens every summer where we get a heat wave like this. And my social media comments, which you should probably never look at, just fill up with, they used to call this summer. Or it's like some silly, shocking, it gets hot in the Carolinas in the summer. Guys, this is serious heat wave, okay? This is not normal. Even for the hot Carolinas, our hottest average temperature of the year for a high is 91. So when you see temperatures going above 91, and I'm talking maybe near 100, that is out of the ordinary. And then you throw in the humidity, it makes it even more dangerous. So this heat dome is going to set up, and we're going to see some pretty excessive heat. So the National Weather Service does a really cool product, these heat impact graphics, basically how heat and humidity impacts you. So the 3-day outlook today obviously was the best you're going to see in the next 10 days. And if you want to know how hot it's going to be, if you spent time outside today and you go, Brad, it was not great. It was warm. It was hot. This is the coolest day of the next 10 days, okay? And maybe even longer. But today was minor, right? Tomorrow, Saturday, I'd say Saturday's going to be pretty good. If you're mowing the lawn, not horrible, moderate, right? We go into Sunday. We start seeing the red show up. So red's always a bad thing, right? Well, yeah, major impacts, meaning it's going to be hot and humid and could cause significant issues to people, especially if you're working outside. But it's Sunday. Hopefully you're at the pool or lake. Monday, people go back to work. Anybody that works outside. And the people I always think about, like, what's the one job you think about in this heat, guys, that would be like the worst job to have? Ooh, that's a good one. Lily? Construction. I think about those roofers.
Oh, yeah.
Being up on the roof and like those hot, oh man, those guys, I don't know how they do it. And they're usually fully dressed.
I was going to say every time.
And because they have to, because it's so hot. Like if you've ever been on like an asphalt roof in the summer, it is brutal. And
that
those guys.
And all the protective gear.
Yeah. Or the guys that have to go repair an air conditioning that's in an attic.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's where the unit is. And these attics are ridiculous. So those are the people I worry about this week because they're going to be working in this because look how bad it gets. By Tuesday, extreme, okay? When you see extreme impacts, that's when it becomes really dangerous between like 1 and 5 p.m. So if you, like say there's a lot of camps going on probably this week, summer camps. If you are in landscaping, to Jeb's point, those landscapers are working hard out there. Roofers, construction, laying asphalt. Anybody doing that stuff, HVAC workers, crawl space workers, people that have to go in these enclosed spaces that are hot and have that protective gear on top of that, it's going to be dangerous. And so you can still work. It's just you got to take more breaks, you got to drink more water, and you've got to have a plan and maybe shift your schedule to a cooler part of the day. I know Nick Sturdivant and I were joking about this. I like running in the middle of the day. I've always done it. It's just crazy, right? But because I played soccer all through high school and college, we always trained in the middle of the heat. So I was just, and our coach would always say, you got to train in what you're playing. So we would run in the heat because that's what we did. And so I do it all the time, but I probably won't do it this week. I'll probably try to run earlier in the morning. Because I notice I can go take a shower, put my suit on and come to work. My body temperature is so hot, I'm still sweating. Like, because your body temperature can't drop. So it's dangerous, and you just got to be careful. And then we'll go to Wednesday. Look at Wednesday. I mean, purple's really bad. Normally, I know we've done some research on purple. Purple doesn't always mean worse. People don't infer that, but on a weather graphic, when you see purple, it's bad. Okay, it's like an extreme version of red. So that's Wednesday, and trust me, Thursday could be just as bad. And that's a combination of heat and humidity, and we call that the heat index, right? The heat index is a real number. It does affect your body. It actually affects your body's ability to cool itself. And when we talk about the wind chill or the heat index, it's really the feel-like reading. These are things that affect the human body. So it's how your body interprets that temperature. There's always that internet meme that goes around about, if the heat index is 106, then the temperature is 106. You shouldn't just say it's 106 because if it feels that way, I kind of get that. It kind of makes sense, because why don't we just say it's going to be 106 even though it's probably going to be 100? Because that's the way your body thinks. Your body will interpret that as 100. So let me show you I'm going to jump ahead here and show you the 7-day forecast and the 10-day, just because I want to show you where the temperatures are. And we're going to go back and talk about 100 degrees here because it's an interesting topic. So that's the 7-day forecast. Folks, we can't even fit 100 on the map sometimes. We have the way our 7-day is formatted, the 100 and a degree symbol don't even fit because we don't normally have that many digits on there. But we could be, honestly, you pick a day, Monday through Thursday, any one of those. Could it be 98? Could it be 100? It could be 101. It could be not. It's all the same. Your body's not going to know the difference.